Skræða 19. Fjörgyn, Mother Earth, Seasons, Svalin, Mundilfari, mandala, Stapatjavit. My poem to my son Helgi, May 26, 1965, the night he was born. Lágnætti lyftir upp bjartri vornóttinni. The light night lovingly becomes a day. Göngum laust á grasinu, we shall tread lightly on the grass. Því blómin heyra svo vel á óttunni, because the flowers are tenderly listening in the silence of the night. Ég verð að hvísla þér ljóðið. I have to whisper to thee the poem lines. Svo ég veki þau ekki vinur. Do not awaken them, my beloved one. Þau eiga nóttina. They own this time of the light spring night. Eins og barnið á móðurina, just as the bairn owns the mother. Little talkative Völva says, Mother Earth, thou mother to Thor and mother to us men, mother of all that lives on earth, Fjörgyn, I hail thee. May I deliver to thee a poem which is about my morning walk. Hrímstjörnur hverfular, fleeting frozen dewdrop stars. Ég geng ein í austurátt, I walk alone towards east. Á svörtu malbyggi göngustíks, on the lane of black asphalt, við sjávarströnd, by the seaside. Vetur, it's winter, að morgni árla, early morning, auð jörð of frost, frost but the earth not covered with snow. Hrímdropar merla, frozen dewdrops sparkle, og gera gangstíðin að himni, so the lane becomes a sky. Tindrandi stjörnu djásns, twinkling with the core of stars. Því sólin að reyna að rísa, because the sun is trying to rise, á austurloftinu, on the eastern sky. En nennir því ekki alveg þó, yet actually too lazy to rise. Hún liggur í leti á skýjakotta, the sun snoozes dreamily on a pillow of clouds. Af geislum hennar algullnum, gilded by her rays, teygir sig letilega, she stretches unhurriedly, og geispar and yawns. Meðan nætur himin hægt fölvast, while the night sky fades into paleness. Allt kring, all around. Hrímstjörnudansinn, the dance of frozen dewdrop stars. Á malbygginu fótum mér, on the asphalt under my feet. Þakkar geislum hennar glit sitt, owes the sparkle to the sun's rays. En sólbráðin, but as thaw, brátt, soon, breytir þeim í vota morgundag, will change them into squelchy morning dew. Hverful fegurð, fleeting beauty, hvers hleyti whose fate is. Gyðjunar miklu för að hlíta, to follow the turning of our deity. Því móðir jörð, when Mother Earth, snýr öllum skepnum sínum, turns all her beings, að sólarupprás morgun hvern, towards the sunrise every morning. I thank thee for the poem, answers Mother Earth. Good to take a morning walk at sunrise, my little Völva. Thy beautiful frozen dew stars are as fleeting and flickering as are all stars. Go early to bed and rise early. In the serenity of night, my creatures should rest. Men should live in flow with their planet Earth, our seasons, our eiktir, Icelandic name of times of the day and night. Eikt and undorn. The surface of Earth runs fast towards east. That is what gives sunrise. Is Loki mankind, my naughty species? The slowest cycle of nature is my Mundilfari, mandala, Google Earth's axis. Takes some 26,000 years to draw his circle. My skewed axis, Mundilfari, actually makes my seasons. My Icelandic parents own beautiful seasons. All should get a feeling for how spring, summer, winter, autumn come to be. Nature sleeps and rests. Nature wakes up. Our most sacred festivals are jólin, júl, sumar sólstöðurnar, summer solstices, and jafndagurinn, equinoxes, vernal and autumnal. Thou shouldst feel how I make day and night a delightful feeling. Thou mightest call sunrise what I call my surface facing my sun. Thy 24 hours might be called my turning on my Mundilfari axis. 365 days it takes me to circle my sun. That is what I call my sun circle. This is what all our planets do. Heathen men were mocked and ridiculed for revering me and call me their deity. Odin, Merkur, Bud is the swiftest. Then Freya, Venus, Shukra, then Earth. Further away are Tyr, Mars, Mangal, Thor, Jupiter, Guru, Loki, Saturn, Shani. 2 more planets are there. Poor little Pluto has been deprived of his status as a planet. All is moving in its orbits, all in the perfect ránar flow. Rán means order. We should not forget my moon, Máni. Our moon affects flow and ebb, has his phases, Sanskrit Tithi, Icelandic tíðir. Springtide occurs at or shortly after full moon and new moon. Understand how full moon is when moon and sun are in the opposite directions, and new moon when they are in the same direction seen from Earth. Twice daily flow and ebb is of difference up to 15 meters in Iceland, seen in harbours and on cliffs and shores at my Atlantic Ocean. Seafarers know all these mighty nature's cycles, my lovely. You should all, my bairns, live in Ránar flow order with my Yktir. Digestion fire is at highest peak at midday, sun on highest point in southern sky. Then all men should have their main meal. Only a light meal in the evening, slower digestion. During midnight, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., bodies are metabolizing food. Give your delicate stomach a break. Do not eat at night. Little tummies love hot water sips, not cold, because that quenches the digestive fire. Is like splashing water on fire. My little bairns who lived in Satyug at good age, thousands of years ago, knew Vata Pitta Kapha of my Yktir. This great knowledge still survives. It goes like this. Go to bed at 9 p.m. before 10 p.m. before the Pitta time of night, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Good to be fast asleep before the Pitta period of night. Metabolism needs a rest. The whole physiology will be happy if this is kept as a lifestyle and rule. Reading and working during night is not so good a habit. Wake up before the kapha period of morning begins. Bodies get heavy, full of mucus, if their owners tend to sleep after 6 a.m. Then bodies become heavy and lazy. Exercise vigorously between 6 and 10 a.m. Specialists should kapha types really use their bodies then to feel refreshed. Do not favor evening kapha time exercises so much. An easy walk in nature is good. Take on clothes appropriate for the weather. All Earth's cycles and flow are without the least effort. I do not need an alarm clock. Not the bus. As laws of nature always are in thunder flow. Ices, as natural law, bjöðum upplifta, keep the universe running smoothly. Favor nature. Such a hobby will help the physiology to tune in. I am actually warning against all this consuming supply of device and contraptions. I'm worried about the brains of my parents. They are connected, incessantly connected to devices. All is connected to hazardous waves, which drastically affect my frequencies. Parents' brains are stuffed with information and harsh sounds. Please Google human resonance. Frequencies of Earth and ionosphere are also known as yin-yang by my Chinese parents. Waking state is saturated with stimuli, bombarded by stimuli. Dream sleep and deep sleep should be a rest, but cannot cope with the overload. The 3 lowest stages that all know is not enough for men to live. The 4th has to be cherished, nísast niður. Production and supply overwhelming, accelerated by insatiable demand. My parents see glamorous ads and widespread media wherever they look. More and more bombardment of magnetic fields and microwaves, poor little parents. I am worried. My parents have gotten the bad idea to feel need for constant connections. Little parents know nothing else, as this is the only they see others do. They are not mature enough to see what is healthy and what is not. They are seduced by the pseudo-needs for info. But, my beloved, there is no end to diversity. Stuff is limitless. That is what worlds are, endless little things. Gungnir is the weapon of consciousness. Handle weapons with care. Gungnir is fickle, so-called material, which no one can actually put hands on. Þursamegir 3, nature's qualities, showed up on Iðavelli long ago, still here. They fuel the fleeting worlds, all powerful and unimaginably bossy. My bairns dance with Triguna. Know not who should rule, man or Triguna. My bairns' brains, already too stuffed, should get a break from the Triguna. We should tell them that they do not live for incessant stimuli. Producers of stuff should cherish money less and health more. My bairns are not taught how to rid themselves of tröll who accumulate. Jötnar eat their bodies from inside. My bairns have to nísa niður into ægir. Attention-sick are salesmen of stuff. They catch the attention of my immature bairns. Life is not meant for attention on created stuff only. Contraptions should not be the rulers. The keyboard opens up a huge world of Gungnir. Tell my bairns to look for the real happiness, the eternal bliss, not out there but in here. Martha, Martha, one thing is necessary, as advises my beloved Jesus. All my Jesuses live that bliss and explain to others. We will never be really blissful by living Gungnir and the Triguna alone. Brainwaves during TM practice can be seen on EEG on a Technicolor screen, correlating in accordance left and right hemispheres, and the prefrontal cortex tunes in too. Every man can see his own brain during Nísas niður, nose down, transcend. What my bairns gain here is the delightful opposite of the attention sickness, that stuff connection that feeds jötnar, who eat my bairns up from within. Jötnar are corrosion, free radicals, sískræða 22. We can all enjoy our stuff and things, but we will be in charge, not the stuff, when we enjoy gungnir in the world connected to the eternal silence inside. Sanskrit nishta, to be grounded firmly in that. Tell my bairns to favor that kind of connection. Human brain function should be coherent and synchronized. The human brain, by its inherent nature, can find orderliness, rán, rögn, regin. This is gained by transcending the triguna, the þursamegir þrír. Mind, thoughts, words, action, gain orderliness, harmony. The entire physiology will adopt that spontaneously, all cells, all functioning. See, thought makes stuff, material. Perfect brain functioning produces healthy organs. Every man on earth can gain this by contacting Ginnungagap. See, perfectly orderly thoughts create good gungnir vibrations in the created body cells, and perfect ránar beauty, infinite correlation in all functioning. Jötnar, corrosion in us, will so not be stronger than Óðin Vilavia creation. Connecting Ginnungagap makes Óðin Vilavia a process connected to the greatest knowledge. The only vital connection for my bairns, the perfect and unbounded. Take a look at this at Glaðheimar, free for everlasting bliss. For the health of my bairns, for their eternal bliss, and so they can tell what is worthwhile and what is worthless in life. Christmas present, Santa Kyoto in December 1997. Svalin the cooler, sun's shield, or höður og haf munu upp brenna, otherwise earth and seas would be burned up. Men should learn to appreciate my care. I take good care of my bairns. I have spheres like the ozone layer to protect you. During dark ages, greed, avarice, ignorance dominating the animal like men. During dark ages, man is the most dangerous species on earth. Men do not understand the limits of nature's endurance. Do not understand what Gróttasöngur is telling us. Do not understand Fenja and Menja. Man should possess the faculty of understanding. Does he not know what is right and what is wrong? Men invent institutions who bear cute names, but have greed as their motto. They exploit land and seas and nature for their egoistic purposes. They kill the animals of the prairie, but that they should not do. Each living entity is on its evolutionary path. Bad skuld will become of the destruction of the perfect flow. Discord gets accumulated in nature. Jón Úr said in his poem, I did not shoot, but I ate. I ate the beauty of the mountains. Dangerous men of dark ages feed living beings to then slaughter and fry. They feed humans to teach them to kill and die for their greed. To have an army is like feeding a goat to be slaughtered. Men disturb the equilibrium of life in my seas and my oceans, and pollute. Those who eat what has been killed eat sin. They clog the sin sieve. God's sin becomes filled with sorrow. Nature has plasticity to a certain degree. When man constantly and perpetually violates laws of nature, evil deeds accumulate. Man should, though, be mature enough to understand. Gremja að sér goð is said to warn man against this building up of conflict. In the end, nature can take no more. She bursts. Then men are like ants on a floor rug that the woman upstairs dusts from the balcony railing. Urður of men always returns to the owners as their skuld. Good men perform good urður and get good skuld in return. Nature is as men are. She is of the same quality as they are. The spiritual qualities of humans become the worldly qualities of nature, exactly the same. My parents will have to learn to nísast niður, create balance and nourish all life, nourish nature. Their eyes perceive the surface values, but they should know where from the visible world is derived, what the so-called matter world is, and what it hides out of sight. Great harmony and the rules of law of nature constitute her, our beloved nature. Where from would that rule and harmony come? It is rán and rögn and regin displaying in nature. Do my grown-up parents know? Do they know the necessity of scooping this harmony and correlation into life? Then life on earth becomes heaven on earth. Nature will be favorable. She will mirror good qualities of humans. Of course my parents can understand the infinite organizing power, naturally, as they are consciousness, Ginnungagap, pure knowledge abides in sight. The sphere of life, fully awake within itself, never changing, basis of all. in which all is ginnungagap, ever moving within itself. No consciousness to be it. All knowledge, all possibilities abide here, right here. Man only need to nýsa niður. Human mind, human awareness naturally finds the easy way to glaðheimar. No effort needed, effortless, as all natural processes are. The TM technique appeals to the nature of the mind to seek happiness. The slide into the innermost is fully understood, easy, automatic, most natural. To nýsast niður, transcend, is inherent in the nature of human mind. To falla aftur þaðan, fall from there again, natural, due to stress being released. Sleipnir, human nervous system responds to the spurt of accumulated stress being released. Stimuli always disrupts the natural balance. The TM technique has to be learned correctly to correctly allow the slide. Qualified TM teacher knows how to teach the technique to be used correctly, even if he need not be enlightened, only conscientious and teaching correctly. He learns to explain the unified field chart, page 15, concerning the mind process. By the natural tendency of the mind, men transcend. Shallow mind broadens and deepens to become glaðheimar. Mind becomes thought. Even thought becomes as faint as to disappear. Awareness expands to infinity. No time, no space, no up or down, only hang on vingameiður. Before, vit gleði, after. This is how man nourishes all life. Soon we shall live glaðheimar in our daily life on earth. Fenrir, not fed as greed and ignorance of men, and his wrongdoings all disappears. Academics stop making errors, not any longer self-important and arrogant. No longer get paid from the greed for polluting and destroying Mother Earth. They now live meili inside modesty, son of Odin. Find Thor Jarðarbur. Thor is son of Earth and Odin. Men now seek Baldur, seek life on the highest peaks of human potential. Þursamærin skaði becomes the spur for divine progress in learned and lay men. No disastrous destruction. Scientists do not use science to spoil the earth. Former arrogant academics now become sensitive for nature and her origin. Skaði and Baldur, meili Óðinsson, Odin, Thor and Sun. TM is a technique intrinsic to man's eternally seeking for greatest happiness. Human mind, human awareness is the unboundedness, so it is simply going home. Römm sú taug sem rekka dregur tífa túna til. No effort, no obstacles. Optimal conditions for sjálfur gefin sjálfum sér I given to myself. Perhaps my cycles, Earth's cycles, are so imbibed into men that this total peace and pure awareness gives them a chance to feel them. Listen, a little Icelandic girl born some 100 years ago on a farm had the task to stay awake to watch over the fertilized meadow and chase off sheep who wanted to graze there, wanted to eat the grass which would be cut and harvested in autumn. She was alone awake, others were asleep. She had some feeling of insecurity, yet light nights were in spring, as we have in Iceland, on 64th degree to 66th degree north during summer. A girl, alone in the night, had some fine feelings and concerns. The ignorance and superstition of Christianity's dark ages still prevailed. Parents would believe ghosts and wights to be around. In winter, the darkness would spur the imagination and stories. Only when the ground was covered with snow and the moon full would there be no darkness outside. Farmhouses used to have little light inside during the dark Middle Ages. Narrow, long corridors and flickering lights put all shadows to life. When the girl was alone in darkness of night, she was sometimes afraid of the dark, not when she was together with others. She found that the fear of the dark was more before midnight, less after midnight. Why would that be? The same darkness was there during the long winter nights. The little girl encountered the same feeling for my cycles in bigger cycles, like before Yule the darkness was denser and more frightening than after Yule. The darkness is just as dark in January as it is in December, as this was in the countryside before the times of electric lights being everywhere. Viðar going down to Höður, the whole cycle, Váli Baldur Viðar Höður, and Váli going up to Baldur. Going into the darkest point, or having passed the shortest day, now heading for longer days, did that make all the difference? Perhaps the frightening wights were not at all hiding in the dark. Perhaps there were no such things. Simply imagination driven by my cycles. Going to the dark brought fright. Growing towards the light brings hope for more light. Are Earth's cycles so forceful that they pull living creatures with them? Could it be that they are overshadowed, smile, by electricity and modern equipment? In cities there are no stars, no moon to be seen. I am also rather worried because of all the light that are lit before dark and not turned off until daylight has shown up. Do we all know that darkness during night when my bairns sleep is good for the third eye, the pineal gland, so it can produce what is needed to combat free radicals jötnar in the body? Google melatonin antioxidant. Be also careful about the Schumann resonance, the threatening frequencies from mobiles and equipment who disturb mine and the ionic spheres once, as the pineal gland takes them for light, even if you sleep with eyes closed, and so does not perform its free radical fighting task. It was cold during winter in the north. The dark Middle Ages were bad. Urine would freeze in the night potties under beds. It was warmer in the cowshed during winter in Iceland, so the whole family would sleep there, use the warmth from the cows. In spring they would move back to the farmhouse. Fire was covered with ashes every evening in the kitchen stove, revived in the morning. Sometimes the peat was not dry enough, then not good fuel. The Italians say copri fuoco, cover fire, meaning doors closed at certain time in the evening, no way to enter after that. In English they have the word curfew. How many know that it is copri fuoco? Now we cannot imagine the work and toil performed in these olden days, when ignorance and superstition made the Dark Ages. Every generation is born to her due skuld. In the Dark Middle Ages, fear and ignorance was used as a tool to keep men under the dominance of authorities. Nowadays, my bairns are demanding little creatures connected to noise and input devices. Some make good money selling that. We should know that ignorance can be called to live for information. Ignorance can be overcome by self given to self. Mother Earth will then not suffer. The word örlög is something that every man claims to understand, but I doubt if they know that men's urður is creating their skuld. Men might not know that for thousands of years ago was said, the ways of actions are unfathomable. This is in our ancient Bhagavad Gita, Gahana Karma no Gati, and be without the three guna, three qualities of nature. Þursa meir þrír, three guna, and gungnir, vibrations, are in ymir the sounding. But Nishta is to be safely grounded in Ginnungagap in man's own consciousness. Each man is responsible. No man should live in the unfathomable actions only. Guðin, the gods, are on the sphere of natural law. From there men should perform actions. Such actions are powerful and correct. Stapatyavet is ancient wisdom of how to make the perfect houses. Powers in my solar system influence my parents. Look at their brains. Men should have the entrance of their houses facing due east because my surface rushes towards east, orientation, the correct direction. All houses should be aligned exactly with the cardinal directions. No tilted or skewed houses should there be. Don't go by magnetic poles. I am changing that every now and then. Use the parallel of latitude and meridian for correct placing. Stapatyavet houses are the only ones truly house disease free. Proportions are correct, placement according to waters, sunrise seen every morning. Shukra rules the east. Stapatyavet houses are more like some extension of man, not as if going into, but rather as if expanding by living in such a building. Placement of rooms and activity is also according to these great rules. Dining in south side, sleeping in west, working in north as Soma rules the north. My magnetic poles touch the kisses from my sun and form a sun crown of shining northern and southern lights. My parents can see this beauty with their worldly eyes, and therefore they believe it. They should also know that sun and planets influence their life, have counterparts in their brain. Tony Natter, MD, PhD, knows man's brain to function the best facing east. Thalamus, brain's sun, then fires best. Ancient knowledge now rediscovered. You should read his books on human counterparts in my skies. Remember, my bairns, to gain money by honesty. Never take more than needed. Modesty should there be when using the gifts and goodness of Mother Earth. I am heathen man's deity of bounty and good life. In the ancient Edda poem Óðsmál, the crude man is reminded of modesty, where he is turned as a guest on earth, as I see it. First part of Óðsmál is called Gestaþáttur, a rough code of behavior for guests, which the theosophical writer Elizabeth Tichinel calls the Emily Post part. The crude man should learn the fundamental rules of behavior. Þurra skíða og þakina næfra þess kann maður mjöt, og þess viðar vinnast megi mál og misseri. Do not exploit, be modest, take no more from Mother Earth than needed. In the last part of Óðsmál, man is taught to nísa niður. That is how the perfect balance will be sustained. An enlightened man living violate sees that he is all, sees what a world is. My teacher, Mahesh Yogi, an Indian physicist, an enlightened great guru, points out to us the knowledge and the understanding, asks us to find the wisdom in our own traditions and religions, and teaches us the easy technique to nísa niður, transcend. The knowledge has come down, and we shall tell all men, no suffering shall ever be, the beauty of life only everywhere. Best of thanks to thee, Maharishi, my teacher, Gothrun Dimbla. Óðsmál is the key to the allegory and symbolic language. We now gain the understanding of the heritage handed over from our forefathers. We now get to know why we are born, what the purpose and goal of man's each lifespan is. We now fathom the profound beauty of our spiritual heritage. Story Hrif. It is so in Álfheimar, elf world, that the inner we go, all becomes whiter and brighter. Nísi niður nefnir fimbulrúnir, nose down into that, and become skilled in every action.